Hi! This is an introduction on how to build a basic course in Schoology and then get started using it. I will say, if your school is willing to pay for the Enterprise Edition, it is amazing. It is very much worth it. I used Schoology for about 3 years, 2 or 3, before my school started paying for the Enterprise Edition. It's funny that sounds. One of the biggest changes was it now builds my courses for me and enrolls all my students. It also syncs with our grade book, which is really nice. But I used this for several years before it did that, and I loved Schoology anyway, even without that. And even if my school decided not to keep doing the Enterprise Edition, I would keep using Schoology because I do love Schoology. So the first thing you're going to do once you're logged in is you're going to create a course. So you have to give your course a name. So I used to do, I would separate it out by section so that way I could keep my students in the correct section. And so I would just say, oh, this is biology and, first period. Subject area, science, level, teach high school. So you can add a range if you want, it just doesn't really matter. So you create your course, and then you have your blank course page. Now, I will say, when you first get started, you gotta start slow. You'll see a lot of ideas out there. Don't let it overwhelm you and try to do everything all at once. It's really easy to see what other people have done and just try to get started. It's overwhelming to do. So, just start slow. So the first thing you're going to want to do once you have this is you're gonna want to add members. And so here's the access code that you would give your students. We'll get into creating groups and stuff later, but this is how here's the access code that you could give to your students. You can choose to, require approval or not, kind of depending what you want to do. But what I would do is I would give all of my students this access code. We would sit down, get everybody registered. Even with the Enterprise Edition, I still have to sit down at the beginning of the year and get everybody signed in. So that's just something you're going to have to do one way or the other. So you give them the access code and then they can get in. And one of the things I will say, the first year I did not run into this problem because I was one of the only teachers using Schoology. But as more and more teachers started using it, they would register they would re-register for Schoology for every class, and then they get Miss Walls, I don't remember which username I used for you. So one of the things you might want to make sure they understand is that if they've already registered for Schoology, they don't have to register again. They just have to sign in and then add the new access code to get in your class. You can even, once you have students, you can download parent access codes to allow parents to access your course and see what their students should be doing. And each parent access code is unique, so you can't just send out like this mass email. You can give parent access codes so they can sign in and see what their students should be doing. And so if you go back to courses, just go back to my only course, and then from here you have so many options of what you can do. You can set up your grade book. I don't have any students, so it's hard to set it up. You can look at your grade book, set up your grade. If you're going to use numeric, you can put all this stuff in here. Categories. Do you grade on categories? For example, in science, some people do labs, quizzes, and daily work. You have all those, so you can add those in. You can absolutely put those in. If your school does pay for the Enterprise Edition, this is a little bit different in the setup part because you have to set up a certain way to make sure it syncs with your grade book. And so it does look a little bit different, but you can set up grading categories. The weights and stuff don't really matter unless you want to allow your students, a little bit more accuracy. I do more than what I put in here, so it's not like students can completely rely on, when they go to gradebook. They have to be able to still go to our gradebook and look at it. It does let you do all sorts of stuff, though. You can do attendance and everything else from here as well. If that's something that is helpful to you. So back to courses. From here, you have all of these different things that you can add. And I'll kind of go through what each one of them is later, but you have all of these options on things you can add. So obviously looking at the basic, if you were going to set this up by, let's say, units or units of study or something like that, you can create a folder, and then everything for that one unit could go in that one folder. Assignments gives you a place for students to upload stuff. I really like just giving my students the option to use the assignments. One of the reasons I like it is because they're doing digital work, and that gives me one place to organize everything instead of some of it gets emailed to me, some of it gets turned in this way. It's just, this is easy. Test quiz, you can build like a simple test or quiz. It's a really good setup, and it gives them immediate feedback. You can change all sorts of things in there too. You can put files up, links up, things like that. And for example, let's say you want them to have access to your notes, so you can upload your notes. You want them to watch these specific videos to go along with this lesson, you can put links for that as well. Discussion, if your course, part of your course will be online discussions, you can add a discussion, which you can actually moderate too. You have pages where you put information for students to find, media albums, media albums. Some of those are pretty easy to figure out what they are. So you have all these options to put up there. The ones I use most often are the folder, assignment, test quiz, and then the file link. I've used discussion once, and I think that's more my age group that I teach. It didn't get used a whole lot, so I don't know. Okay, so from here you can also find resources. You won't have any unless you've uploaded them. They do have public resources, so which is a great help. You can search in here, let's say biology. I'm going to search enzymes, and they've got all sorts of stuff in here that people have shared. So this is a great resource as well. So you can see people's stuff that they have shared, they've made public, and so that's something to consider as well. A great place to find stuff. I mean, like, it keeps going just on and on and on. Lots of options in there for you to find. You can also create your own resources. Let's say you have stuff on enzymes, since that's on my brain, and you just want to build a folder. You have put some stuff in here for enzymes. You can add some files into here, and then you have it, and you can easily add that back into your course. Okay, so that's the basics of what to do. We'll have videos on how to add assignments and stuff. That's how you get going. Just get your students registered and start getting stuff on there for them to use. If you have any questions, please let me know. Like I said, I've been using it for several years. I love Schoology, and I think it's well worth the effort to get started on it. And actually, once you get started, it gets easier. And you know, the stuff you put on there, if you put it in your resources, you can reuse that and you have it available to you. So you don't have to start from scratch every year. So if you have any questions, let me know. And I hope this was helpful. Thank you.